Well, I've got to. Well, now we're live, so.
Now we're live.
All right. Well, I'm gonna step away here in about 15 minutes for a few. I've got to tuck my kiddo in, but
You'll be back.
yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah, you know it. All right. What is going on? Well, first things first. I'd kind of like to get a feel from everybody as to who would want to participate in the new upgrades that we're doing. Who in the group specifically would like to participate in that? I've got a picture.
Well, if it's the thing I've been drooling over for.
It is.
Then yeah.
And I think everybody should have access to this. I'm just going to post it in the Google chat. Hopefully everybody can get to that because it's all in our group. If not, let me know if that doesn't work.
It would help if I scroll down. Oh, which Google? Oh, that Google chat. Derp.
Derp.
The CNC.
What?
Oh, that's awful loud.
What the hell is that?
That's Pink Floyd.
It's the thing that I clicked. That's a CNC router vise.
You're right. That's not the right one.
No, I was like, wait a minute. That's pretty fucking awesome.
That is cool. And I'd like to have one.
Pardon my language. That's pretty stinking cool right there.
Well, it keeps wanting to see if. No, it's posting the wrong one. Hold on.
I can't even get to that one.
Yeah, hold on.
I don't know what it looks like. This guy's doing a V-carve on whatever, and it's basically it's a wood made vise, and it looks like he's using this big VFD spindle. Oh yeah, he's doing a V-carve, and it is just blasting through it. But it's a wood vise. I guess you clamp it down to your table, and then it's you spiral it over and hold your square piece in place, nice and flat or whatever. Oh, you got a second link? Second link. Nope.
I am coming. That one is the same one. It's for whatever reason.
Batting 1,000, John. Batting 1,000.
I'll just post it to the main chat.
That video, he does have replaceable jaws on it.
He does. So the guy used to sell those on eBay, and he doesn't anymore, and he doesn't reply to emails.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I posted it in our main chat window, and basically, it'll kind of just show you what we're talking about for upgrade. It's the Z with clamps, with if you need them, I guess, the clamps, and also the Y-axis end plates.
That's the Y-axis vertical increase, or just that's the Y-axis rigidity increase?
Yes, a little bit of both, and it's 3/8, so it's pretty good and thick. Eves has it recessed, so I believe, I don't know if did you do it? Was it an 1/8" recess on the back for the stepper motor? So it should be effectively
pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's effectively a 1/4 inch.
And,
I did 6.5 millimeters.
6.5 millimeters. Okay.
That's basically you took the footprint of the Inventables Y plate and you beefed it up. So that would also hold the two 20x40 plates, or is that a plate X gantry replacement?
I'll let you talk about. Why don't you just talk about the end plate?
Take it away, Yves.
Okay, so let me look at the picture so I can.
It's the one that's just the 3D, the one with, yeah.
Oh, I could have posted that. I didn't know that's what you were doing. Okay.
I think that's the one you gave me, right?
Yeah, it is. All right, so the height, it's 107 millimeters taller than these stock plates. I have the hole patterns for a 20x80, but you can accommodate by obviously 20x20 or 20x60. and then I added a mechanism to hold the belts, which is the little smiley face in the very top.
Right. Now, so that's a full X carry replacement, though.
Yeah, both
And
sides.
you're making left and rights, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does not include the X-axis, the bars. You could use your existing maker slide with this. That will work.
Yeah.
It will just raise everything up higher, which with the new Z, it sounds like it is required.
Yeah.
You will have to have the height to use this new Z.
I guess my question, and I sorry to continuously interject. The question I have is, will it hold the two 2040 bars next to each other in the same fashion that the x-carve has it, or this is a over and under or something different?
Nope, it accommodates the stock setup and future changes.
Okay. I'd like to see that. I guess I'll have to pull up in Fusion. Is it shared out in Fusion?
Yeah, it's
It
been
is.
there for a while.
Yeah, okay.
So yes, you can. If you put those end plates on with your existing X-carve with the maker slide, it will work exactly as it does now, just with much beefier end plates
And taller.
and taller. Yeah, and taller.
But since there's multiple slots, you can actually go all the way to the top or in the middle or all the way down.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm opening it up now so that I can really take a look at it. Okay. Just the way.
Looks good.
Yeah, it does look. It looks really good. I'm just trying to figure out how all that stuff fits in. I'll have to pull up the CAD of the other thing.
And basically, you take your existing Z off, and this one basically bolts right in.
Two screws, two
Yep.
M5s. Or I'm sorry, four M5s. Holy
4
crap.
M5s. Yep.
Yeah.
That hold it to the X-carve carriage.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't do more than 4 because there isn't a hole in the middle of the damn X carriage somewhere.
Yeah, it's just an empty void.
Yeah, but on the Shipoko 2, there is middle mounts for it. That's why if you look at the model, Andrew, if you take away what I call the sled, you'll see that there's 6 holes in the middle and then 2 by 2 top and bottom. So ironically, the Shipoko 2, I could grab it from the top and the middle and the bottom. But on the X-carve plates, there's no holes in the middle, so I'm only grabbing it from the top and bottom.
Yeah, I guess what's throwing me off is the fact that you've got like 5 bolts there. So it's
6, yeah.
Yeah, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 5 in the model.
Oh, okay.
The 4 that are vertical along that path, that step-up path. So
Yeah.
I was just looking at the distance between, and yeah, it's just a 20 millimeter difference, and that's what's on the even though it's a 20 by 40, it's a 20 millimeter gap in between the stuff. So that's nice. That's awesome.
Yep, so in theory you can go, like I said, 2040, what's on there now, or you can go bigger, or you can go smaller if you feel ballsy.
Or you could even accommodate a 2080.
Yep.
Big flat one, and if you were doing something completely different than.
Yeah, you'd need a different carriage to do that because that won't. Yeah. Yep.
Soon.
Have we got any
soon.
cost point? Have we got any cost points yet?
Nothing yet. We didn't know. We haven't actually done out the DXF files yet, so no cost point yet. If I were to guess, I suspect the machining of the parts.
Hold off on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah,
$1 million.
$1 million. It'll be reasonable. It'll be reasonable.
And everyone runs screaming at the.
No,
No,
put it this way: it's cheaper than buying the plates from Inventable stock.
Yes.
If you were to price out all of those plates, which I did, it actually comes out less than that. That I can guarantee. But the exact figure we don't know because we need to get them made, and we need to get them installed on machines, and we need to verify if anything needs to be changed.
Right.
Now you're gonna go so far as to get them anodized black,
Powder coated, but yes.
powder coated. That'll work.
Well, I mean, if they're aluminum, you wouldn't even have to do that. Or are you going steel?
No, aluminum. But I just want to go fancy schmancy.
Unless somebody wants titanium and wants to pay for it.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
Dude, you can do a fake titanium anodized. That's what you do. We'll get some of that chameleon paint, and we'll just paint it with the chameleon shit.
I'm not sure that you'd benefit from titanium because you kind of want some mass to these too, don't you? I mean, you'd lose a lot of mass with.
Yeah.
I think the rigidity is more important, Dave.
Yeah, Yeah, actually, the lower the weight that you've got to
More acceleration, I suppose.
slide back and forth,
Let's do that. Let's do them
the
out of
better
carbon
off you are.
Do them out of carbon fiber, Eves. We'll just get half-inch. We'll just get a half-inch or 1-inch carbon fiber.
Well,
Yeah.
don't buy your carbon fiber from Inventables, for God's sakes.
Well, what's ironic is recently on another CNC forum, which I'll negate the name, somebody did do their end plates out of carbon fiber.
Oh yeah.
And there's issues with that.
I would imagine it probably has because carbon fiber is strong, but it has a amount of flex to it.
No, they're thick, but the problem is that there's no mass, and his feed rates are kind of sporadic. But then again, his belting system is kind of wonky, so there's other issues involved too. But I mean, aside from it looking cool, I guess I don't know.
I have some carbon fiber vinyl.
There you go.
Cool as hell. So yeah.
So keep that in mind. I think we're going to get a couple made initially just to kind of make sure. I think that was the plan, and just to make sure that everything is coming out okay, and then...
Yeah, I guess the initial question is, like, who really truly wants a set of these to test? And that's pretty much where we wanted to go, so we could tell this dude, not dude, but the machinist, how many to make.
Yeah.
That's his nickname, the machinist.
The Machinist, which is a really weird movie if anybody's ever seen it.
I haven't watched The Machinist. I've watched The Mechanic, but not The Machinist.
Well, you got the Lebowski angle too.
Yes, yeah.
The dude abides.
Well, of course, if I wanted a set, I'd go out to the shop and machine me a set. So I'm out of the running.
We accounted for that, I think.
I figured you probably did.
I mean, you're more than welcome. We'd love to have you. That'd be awesome. But,
Yeah.
We figured.
I'm definitely interested.
Okay. Tony, thoughts, prayers, whatever.
I need to hit the limits of this first.
That's okay. I understand.
Yeah, I need more Z, and I need more beef. So.
Well, that's a different issue, but. Where's the beef? What was that? I missed it.
No, I was shaking my fist.
No. Yeah. All right. So we'll run with that. I'm almost positive Tyler wants a set. And Tyler has a DeWalt, so we'll have one DeWalt. So what we're thinking here is, so Eve's just going to have a VFD. I'll have a Makita. You'll have the Makita. Tyler will have a DeWalt. So those are kinds of all the options we would want. So we want to make sure that all of those options work, and there's nothing. Yeah. So as long as we're covered that way, I think we're good. So.
Absolutely.
Well, the DeWalt mount looks exactly like the VFD mount, just obviously it accommodates for the DeWalt.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference.
And you had to add some badassness to yours, Mr. Flippy Clamps.
No, I did that.
Yeah, they're awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even think of it, but
They're cool looking.
No, well, I did it so the machinist would not like bitch and groan. I simplified it into one piece.
yeah, it was a cost factor of simplifying the machining. Yeah.
Yeah, versus
And
4 plates.
could have done it just as easily with a socket head cap screw, but that's beside the point. That's got the cool factor.
Well, I mean, and even on the Makita mount, that could be simplified with with making those two C brackets into one with a 1 or 2 millimeter gap, and then just letting that be the friction for it. I mean,
Socket head cap screw.
Yep.
So.
Cool. What else? I think that was all I had. I haven't.
Marvin's arrived.
Marvin did show up. Yep.
I have to run inside real quick. 2 seconds. I shall return.
You go put your kids to bed.
Yeah.
hopefully I will pick up. I was really hoping to get those things, the stuff from the machinist this week, but I have no doubt it will be next week. But that was all I had. Ease, if you had anything or anybody else. Me. Arvin, how's it going?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes. Wow. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
You have a headset.
Little less gain.
Hold on. Let me take off this. Here.
Sounds good.
That's not bad.
All right. Is it okay still?
Yes.
Okay.
For me.
All right. I'm just fixing something. Yeah, I was running a little late. I was watching a show called Belief that Oprah has, I guess, on OWN. She had 7 days of it and talks about religion and different religions all over the world. So it was very interesting. Not one specific religion. I think they went through like 14 different religions, and they were talking about how religion is based on geography, which is so true, you know? Interesting.
Huh.
As if you grew up in another country, if you're just where you were born, you could have a different belief because of where you were born, and it's so true.
Yeah.
It's funny. I invited Makita UK to the Hangout, and they responded no.
Wow.
But they actually responded.
Well, yeah, that's a plus.
Tormach also responded no.
Hey, keep on inviting them every week.
Yeah, you know.
And one day they're going to say, you know what, this guy's persistent. I'm gonna come.
John,
That's my theory.
John, did you make it to Pasadena?
No.
Oh,
We had a guest in town, so that was a non-starter.
taken
Otherwise, I would have.
Should have taken him.
You know, he went to school for engineering. Sadly, it was software engineering, so.
Should have still taken him.
We went over to the Salton Sea. Actually, that was an interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yep.
So you don't have to like read a story or nothing. You just good night, go to bed, go to sleep. No water,
Got that
no
shit
bathroom.
Hey, well, my son, we let him watch. He watches some television programs, some kids educational, sciencey things. They're about animals and stuff. He watches that before bed, and that's kind of his bedtime story. And we've kind of established that. And if he wants us to read a story, he's 5 and he can pretty much read pretty much what anything we give him. I mean, we're not giving him the Book of Law.
That's next year.
Yeah, that's next year. Pretty much any of the kids' books up to 1, almost 2 your second grade reading level, he's fine, more or less. The kid can read great. So I mean, if he wants a book, he reads himself a book. But yeah, I mean, normally we'll just say, hey, this is on the weekends. We don't mind if you watch the show or whatever. Stay up a little late, and that's over. We turn the TV off, and he's got I bought him a little tiny radio and he listens to a little radio station or whatever. It's either it's like a classic rock or something, just something to have background noise, and he goes to sleep.
Nice. So you sounds like you just got done with some upgrades, Marvin.
I was upgrade. Not really. I think I was trying to tell a story today. Basically, what happened is that I bought this TB60 controller about a year and a half ago.
6560?
Yeah, 6560. I'm sorry. So I bought it a year and a half ago. So I think I just bought it when I got my Sheipuku. So it's almost 2 years I bought it. And when I bought it, my goal was to go. As I got my Sheipuku, I would go straight to Linux CNC, and then eventually, you get Gerbil and you're like, this is not bad. It does what I want it to do. There's no issue. And then I saw that it had, the ports that I would have to get rid of the laptop and get a PC. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have the time for this. to go find and raid a PC somewhere in the house. I was like, forget it. So I just put it down and said, I'll never use it. And nobody I know wants it or wanted to buy it. So I'm like, for the $75 I bought it, it's here or there. So over the last week or two, I saw it and I'm like, I'm going to fix this. So I ordered a DB25. No, what actually I did, it was actually because you can I had some jumper cables, jumper wires, with a female on one end and a male on the other end. So I could actually push right into the pins of the DB25 connection. So I actually did that and it kind of worked. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I can invest $6 more in buying a DB25 breakout board. So I bought the breakout board, got the breakout board, and I said, hey, let me just start to wire it. And so I got it working to a point where I felt X-axis and Y-axis were working beautifully. The Z-axis, when I moved the Z-axis, everything started to turn off. So I reached out to, I sent a message and Leeds replied, and it just started to make me think and said, okay, do I need a reference voltage? Do I need this? And so I kind of changed up the way I did it and got it to work. So it's working beautifully, but I'm not going to use it on my setup now. It works.
Oh, okay. So you're not. It was just an exercise in trying to do it. See if you can do it.
Because my setup is okay now. Yes, I have a little opportunity that I could put me some NEMA 23s on there, and I could wrap up the current a little bit more. But the NEMA 25s that I have that are from Inventables are more than adequate. The G Shield can more than handle them. So, and I'm not doing anything that's cutting for 5 hours. That needs some cooling.
Yeah. Nice.
So, but it works. I was surprised.
I miss those days.
Awesome. Oh, well done, sir.
Yeah, but you know what? The funny thing about it, I Googled everywhere I could Google. I used my Google Force, and I couldn't find just somebody just did it. And there are people that did it, but their one was they used a red board and a blue board, not a blue, red or yes, blue.
The breadboard, or are you talking about the blue smart stain board?
No, they said the blue smart stain, and so my pinouts were different from their pinouts, and it didn't work, and everybody that I tried theirs own, it didn't work, and I'm like, look here, something is wrong here. It is not like I am, most things you can Google, you can find an answer for it. I just couldn't find an answer, so it was just.
You should have asked the chat first, because I actually did that.
Oh, because I'm like, okay, what the hell is it? And I just took my time and pinned out, and so I got up to a certain point, and then I just slowly went. When you have a breadboard, a breakout board in front of you, you have access to all 25 pins, so you can start doing all different combinations, and I got it to work.
Nice. Nice.
But it was weird because when you press the Z at one point, Z plus, it would be okay. When you said Z minus, it would be okay. When you said Z plus, it would home it. Everything would home. And I'm like, whoa.
Everybody panic!
Yeah. So I had to plug out everything. What was that mean? It was.
Oh man, that's like the first time I used. One of the first times I used UGS, the Universal G-Code Sender. At the end of a job, it returns to home. Well, in the G-code, it's set to return home, and in Universal G-Code Center, home is either predefined or it's wherever the machine was when you turned it on or connected to it. So the first time I finished a job, this thing goes and takes off. I'm like, no! Stop!
Somebody's got some music playing in there.
It's not me. I think it's Marvin. You've got some...
I think so.
Oh. Okay. Are you hearing it now?
A little bit.
It's better now.
Okay. Let me turn. Yeah, so no more upgrades. I have no, as I said to people, the only thing upgrade I would do is just for the fun of it to get a aux CNC.
So the upgrade is to completely replace it, or it's the different end plates?
No, just try the ox. I like how it looks. I like how it's simplified. I like how it's set up. Not that I don't know what I'm thinking out of the box. I'm this type of person. Unfortunately, that I have something work. So, for instance, I have my CNC. It works beautifully. I won't upgrade it, but I'll buy another CNC. Like I have a 3D printer, I'll buy another 3D printer. Make another 3D printer to make the other, and I could have made the other one better. So that's not nonsensical approach.
Well, I mean, I can understand that too. You've got something and you don't want to, it's not broken. So,
The ox is very similar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very similar.
It's the Open Builders version.
Yeah.
I like the approach. I like the open source mentality. Not that Inventables is great, but just it's cool. And again, if I have done more than I would say 10 hours of cutting on and I have had it 2 years. So when the Shapeoku came out, I got it right away. So how long that Shapeoku so it's 10 years, 2 years. So in 2 years, I have used it in a total time maybe 15 hours, 20 hours worth of cut time at most. Okay. So that's sad.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's sad. It's just
no, you just haven't found anything that you really, really need to cut a lot of parts of.
Right.
And that's like with me. I've been trying to figure out. I'm not trying to hijack, but I've been working on. I think it was John. We talked about mechanical keyboard frame, and I don't remember if it was on this chat or another chat. But we talked about the JD40 keyboard frame, and I've been working on one.
Yeah. So
the problem I had is that the hole size wasn't coming out the right size. So the little key switch would either not go in or would go in too easily and wouldn't be held firmly in place or whatever.
Super glue.
Well, I could use a glue or an epoxy, but I really don't want to. I want this to go in and be held by friction and not overcomplicate the build process.
That was a joke.
Oh no, I know, and it's okay. And I found out part of my problem was that the bit that I got from Inventables was not 1/8. It was like
you said 0.118. It
was
3 millimeter.
Well, it was 3 millimeter. It wasn't
Yeah.
1/8.
Yeah.
It was listed as 1/8. So anyway, long story short, once I made that adjustment, the cut came out much different in a positive way. Still wasn't quite right, but much better. And then when I use the actual router bit that I have that's measured at 1/8, that comes out 0.125, the cut comes out even better still. And this is kind of where I'm at now, and I haven't decided whether I want to continue to use this one that I just made. I don't know that I want to keep this, or if I want to try to refine it even more still.
See, if in my world, Andrew, I would just 3D print that and leave it alone, and that's it. And I hear what you're saying, but you see, my thing is that I just don't have anything to make. I can't.
No, and I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that approach 100%. You just want to get it done, and you want it to work, and for it to work the way you want it to work, you just 3D print it. Life is easy. Part of the reason that I've been tweaking this for 2 weeks, a month, whatever, is because I want to use wood. I want to use the natural material. Or not only so much for for aesthetics, but also for the tactile and for the luxury, the boutiqueness of the product, being a mechanical keyboard, this piece of technology that's been machined or manufactured out of a piece of natural. So I like that play on technology versus sustainable product.
Plus, you're hoping you can hit a niche market.
Yeah, that's true. Very true too. The niche market would be super nice. And I want one made out of aromatic cedar because I like the way cedar smells, and I think it would look cool.
Well, you got a lot of it there on the East Coast.
I do. I've just got to find it. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Marvin, you said something, and I just wanted maybe to hear a little more about that. But you said you just have nothing to make. Is that just you can't think of anything, or you only do things out of necessity, or I guess what was your thought on that?
So when I say I have nothing to make is that obviously, when you tend to buy something, and this is how my world is, when I tend to buy something or start a hobby, you get so excited over that hobby. You're willing to make anything, even if it makes it in the garbage. So you're willing to make like a 3D printer, you're willing to make a cup, you're willing to make a saucer, you need to make a little figurine. For CNC, you want your iPhone holder, you want to make a little nameplate, you want to cut out something. So you keep on doing these things for the first month or two. And after that, you said, okay, for me to get the energy to go in my garage to turn on this machine, it needs to be something that's practical, that I'm going to use on a daily basis. So for both CNC, so I don't really 3D print anything anymore because anything I 3D print, it has to be practical. Okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to spend 4 hours designing this, 5 hours printing it, and then I'm going to put it on top of my desk, and then within a month or within 2 weeks, I'm going to throw it in the garbage because it had no relevance to me. So I don't have any relevance for the 3D printing in my world. That what can I make? Okay, so it's not like like you guys are somebody next door say, hey Marvel, what are you going to make? Can you cut this out for me? Can you do this for me? I've not reached to that point where I'm like, okay, I need to make a bracket, or I need to cut this for wood for my next door neighbor, or for my church, or for.
So yeah, so you haven't I guess for lack of a better way, commoditized the actual device. You know, you haven't found a way to, by choice or whatever, you know, to turn it into a business, I guess.
Correct, and I would never do that.
And so that's the choice. You want to keep it as a hobby and just doing fun things and.
Correct, and the reason why I do that is that, you know, for me, that's not where my business is. I do other things to make money. However, if I take it as a hobby, some people may want to convert their hobby into business, and it's great for them. But once you start to do that, for me, it then becomes a hobby, becomes a burden. It becomes not a hobby anymore. It becomes a resource where I just can't bother with it, you know. So I do it because I enjoy it. If I want to cut a nameplate, if I don't want to turn on my CNC for 6 months, that's my prerogative. There's if I want to make a nameplate next 2 days, I'll make it, you know. So there's not that burden. It still has some enjoyment that I can, hey, I'm going to dust it off and I'm going to have fun. It's like a disc jockey. There's no disc jockey out there, not many that have been in the business that been disc jockey that love me. Sometimes they kind of hate music because they're like, every day I'm on the radio doing the same thing, playing the same music, the same songs over and over and over. It, you know, it gets to you.
Yeah.
And I in my younger years I used to kind of disc jockey a little bit, and it's one of those things where you want to hear new music, and oh no, we want to hear the same damn song that you've already played 3 times tonight, and it's.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no creative process to it anymore. I literally got to the point where I had it in a playlist, and I had it auto crossfade, and I just hit play and went and got a beer. And every now and then I'd say "yay" on the microphone or whatever, and it really was. They didn't care if I scratched. They didn't care if I mixed it. They didn't care. They just wanted to hear Britney Spears or whatever. You know, whatever the song of the day was.
Well, we have 2 people in the group, Eves and Dave, that both do this. I guess we'll call it professionally, you know, for a business. And how do you guys go about, you know, not getting fried on the task? You know, I mean, part of it, I get, Dave, you love Steam engines and that whole thing, and it's that part of it stays a passion for you. But do you find at times that it's, you know, this is becoming
you know, the steam engine was a 2.5-year project, and there was some periods of time there where, you know, I bogged down and really, you know, set the thing aside and did something else for a week, you know,
Yeah.
and did some other jobs in there and everything. So,
Do you find it difficult to go back to it once you've had to stop it? Because I personally
no, because I had a customer that you know, I promised a operating engine to, and so I always knew that I didn't have any options not to go back to it. So, you know, if it had been my own personal project, yeah, probably would have been more difficult to go back to.
Okay.
But
I can relate.
So,
I
don't
didn't mean
know,
to.
you know. No, that's
I didn't
fine.
mean to exclude you, Tony, but because I think you're doing, you know, or trying to do commercial stuff too on yours too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the end game, but the main idea was for prototyping, and it's really working out well for at least the last couple of things I've done. Don't really want to get into a production thing just because of what you're saying. I don't mind doing something once or twice.
Yeah.
10 times? No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, I would to make it clear that I have no problem with somebody taking a hobby and transferring it into a business. That makes a lot of sense, because, you know. But just for me, I try to separate the two in my mind. So for me, and for other people, that's okay. You can. It's great to transition from a hobby to a business and make a lot of money from it. For me, a hobby needs to be a hobby for me.
I wasn't trying to single you out, Marvin. It's just it's cool.
No.
I
know you're.
That's what's benefit from all of us is that, you know, or it's the benefit of this hobby. I think, you know, anybody can make what they want out of it, and if you want it to be a hobby, it's a hobby. If you want to make money out of it, it's plenty easy to do that. I mean, just go up to Etsy.com and take a look at what people are doing on CNC up there, and it's there's a lot of people up there. I'd like to just go ahead, Yves. I wouldn't mind hearing what you had to say on this too.
Oh, I use it to basically fund my other hobbies. So, and as me and John were talking about earlier, I mean, I hate the designing aspect of it, but I love the engineering part. So, upgrading the machine is the fun part for me. So, I mean, if I can upgrade it to do other jobs faster, so I can do my stuff quicker, like if I have 15 furniture pieces, if I could somehow knock it out in the first 3 days versus doing it in the week and then use the latter part of the week to do what I want to do, I'm game with that. But it's just, that's how, I mean, it started out as a hobby, and then somebody came to me and says, hey, can you do this? And it's like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then another person said, oh, I saw you did this, can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, I could probably do that. And then after that, my wife was like, yeah, we should probably start charging people for this. And then she started doing the whole Etsy/craft show things, and people gobble that stuff up. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. The other day, that's a lie. Today, I was at swimming with my son. He was swimming. And so while sitting in the stands, I was watching Periscope. And it was this lady in Atlanta, Georgia. And she was doing Periscope, and she was walking around this craft show. And so I asked her a question. I said, hey, where are you? You seem to be at like a flea market. She says, no, it's a craft show. And she was explaining to me, and it's so funny when Eve said that, is that she was explaining to me that how craft market is such a excellent business market to be in. Although there are tons of people in the market, you can make something small that costs you $10 and sell it for a markup of 500%. In my world, there's nothing called more than 25% markup, if you're lucky. In this craft market environment, it's not about 25% markup. It's 200, 300, 500, 1,000% markup, and you're like, wow.
See, and ironically, that's where I excel. And what I mean by that is that these other folks that are around our booth would sell something that probably took them 8 minutes to make and then sell it for $150. But then I figured out how to take that same thing or something similar or better that took me let's say 25 minutes of CAD time, 2-3 minutes of cam time, and probably like an hour of machine time. But yet in that hour, I was able to do 48 of them, and then sell it for like, you know, almost 60-70% less than what they are, and then still sell all 48 before I leave. Right? It just depends how you angle it.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that actually like carve things, and there's this one guy that takes these thick pieces of acrylic. It's like 3 to 5 inches thick, and he has a Dremel with this like custom-made bit. And what he does is he carves out these trees inside these pieces of acrylic. So when you look in front of it, it looks three-dimensional. He charges $120 for that, but there is probably 30 to 40 hours of work in that one piece. That makes complete sense, right? But the guy that just wood burns somebody's name in a plate and charges $65 for that, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too with making some extra money from your hobby, it's also contingent on where you're at in your life's path.
Correct.
Right? I'm 67 years old and retired. All right. You know, I can see Andrew is, you know, in his 30s or 40s. Eves looks to be in his 30s or 40s, somewhere in there. Marvin doesn't look to be real old. Tony, I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen his face on the
I don't know that he's ever graced us with his face. No.
Yeah. John, I know John is semi-retired.
Yep.
So it's all contingent on where you're going with your life. You know, if you are raising children, you know, then extra income can be a very important thing. You know, if you're looking at colleges and everything else. So.
And I agree with you, David. That's so correct. Because for my world is that it would be a step backward. No, okay. It would, for me to sell a friend or somebody something that's a craft. Somebody would be saying, Marvin, the business you own makes more money than you would sell in this craft. Why were you worth your time doing it? So again, that's one of my hurdles is that what am I financially going to make from it? You know, I own a manufacturing company that manufactures for other companies. I make good money. You know, I'm not wealthy, but I am okay in my life. You know, so my hobbies for me is my hobbies. So
something to do in the evenings.
Correct. So you will find you'll see people that are very wealthy buy 10 antique cars and never drive them, and you're like, oh, what an idiot, you know, because they can afford it. It's a hobby for them. They don't have to drive it from show to show to show to show. They don't have to enter it in a show to make a little money from it. They just do it because, hey, it costs them maybe to race a car. It may cost you more to carry your car to a racing track than what you would win the purse for. You know, you do it because you like it, you know, and those are people that are wealthy. For me, I'm not wealthy, but I'm in a position in life where unless it's going to make me equal or more money, it's going to augment or become a value add to my business, it's just a hobby. So I have tons of these stupid little hobbies, you know. I have 3D printing, I have CNC, I have walking, I have, you know, swimming, I have all kind of play golf, you know, those are my hobbies, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And of course too, it also depends, all right. If you're still working, you know, and hiring yourself out to an employer, and you're not as happy with that job as you would like to be, and you know, the job market is getting tight and everything else, you know, you may be developing your hobby into a business so that you can work for yourself and make your own destiny.
correct. And I think if I were working for somebody, so the tables could easily change. If I were working for someone and I bought the CNC and it was a hobby, I could see easily where the opportunities that I could build things that could make money from it. But no, it's my fun. I enjoy it. I come on this to learn from you guys. I enjoy having fun with it, And kudos to people that, that turn their hobbies into money-making adventures. Some people become billionaires from a hobby to a business adventure,
Oh yeah.
Yep. I'm with Tony on this one. I like the idea of the prototyping, kind of a skunk works operation. I think where it's not the same thing. I think being able to do something like that, maybe even a job shop a little bit like NYCNC, but where it's a lot of prototyping. I think that'd be kind of fun.
I think where the opportunities for you guys are, for the CNC, is to be the middleman. I never believe in it's. When I say the middleman, is like, what's this website called? ST or ST?
Etsy. ETSY. Yeah.
Etsy. I would be going to these people that are making these things and say, hey, I can do it smarter, faster, and cheaper than you can do it. Don't waste your time and make it yourself. I'll do it for you. So I'll be reaching out to all these people that I can see that are making these things that CNC can do. So you'll see a lot of these people don't have CNCs. Will never use CNCs. They're in their 50s. They're not mechanically inclined. They cut things from wood. I'll be going to them and say, hey, guess what? How much does it? You're selling for $80. I'm assuming that you're buying it or making it for $20. I'll build it for you for $5. And that's where the opportunity lies. So if I were in the United States with you guys, that's where my business model is. Forget going to SD and selling. Let me sell to these people that are selling at SD. You do the hard work. You look for the customers. I will look for you guys and try to make it and beat everybody at that game. Because I am sure if I were the one that's selling on this website and John, you came to me and said, hey, Marvin, you see that little keychain that you're selling for $20? It costs you maybe, $15 to build. I will sell you for $2. They'll be like, huh?
Yeah, it unfortunately doesn't work that way. They understand what their markup is, but they still overinflate what the end result price is. So, for example, what I was saying is that at the craft shows that my wife goes to, they make these things for $1 or $2, and then they turn around and sell it for like 80, 90.
I know, I agree with you, Ease. But what I'm saying is that a lot of them make it for more than it costs them. So, for instance, you gave the example where somebody's selling something for $80, and you can do 48 of them in the same time they can do one.
Yeah.
So you have a margin to play with. Now, I will be saying to that person, hey, I don't want to compete with you because I'll beat you at this game. I will go, you buy it from me, and you sell it for whatever price you want to sell it for.
Why you wholesale it out?
I would wholesale it to you now, so you become. So I don't have to go to the end customer. I'm the middleman. I'm selling it to you. So it took you 2 hours to do this. I can do 2 hours. I can do 100 of them. So those are the people I market. So I'm going to go to these craft shows and say, hey, lovely design, have you ever thought about doing it in a CNC? No, we do it by hand. Oh, you know what? Tell me how I can CAD it for you. I can design it for you, replicate it for you, and I can do that exact same design for you at a cheaper cost than you can do it. So that's what I would be going to the craft market going to do. Every craft market, I will be hunting down, looking at things that I, in my mind, could replicate on a CNC. So, like for you go there quite often and you have booths. I'll be just walking there and saying, I'm the middleman.
Yeah. It's not that hard, though. It really isn't. But I see where you're going with that, but the problem is that these people are set in their... I shouldn't say these people. They're kind of set in their own ways. And whatever method... Yeah, whatever method that they've developed to do what they're doing, that's what they're going to do.
And
like, for example...
Go ahead.
Good.
No, no, I was saying, and it's exactly what you're saying. It is difficult. So if you get through the door, that door opens up opportunities beyond opportunities. Because what happens is it's a market where it takes a lot of massaging, talking to. So it's not a hard market to get into. So not everybody's going to do what you're doing. So all you do is just slowly talk to them. Hey, give me a card. Convince them. Send them one of their replicate it and say, look here, I just did this, and send it to you back and say, hey, this is what I did. I bought this from you for $30. I CAD'd it and send it back to you and say, hey, I can make this for $4. I can sell you this for $4. And be like, oh. And I will have my name on it. I don't want to be, it's your design. I don't want to carry my name on it. It's your name. Whatever you want to put. You want to put on it made in India, or you want to put on your John Doe, that's fine. I want to be the middleman. So my personal business, that's what my personal business is surrounded on. I'm the middleman. I will take a manufacturer. You want to make a spice, you want to make something, I'll do it for you. I don't care about the fame. You just pay me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Eves.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
to follow up on what Eves is saying, a whole bunch of these craft fair people are there not necessarily to make a bunch of money. They're about 90% of why they're there is because they enjoy doing it. They enjoy making the birdhouses using scrap wood and everything else, and their air nailer and everything else, and taking it to the crafts fair and selling them for whatever they can get out of them.
I agree with you, David, to a point, and I'm going to stop you. I'm sorry to break you there. I agree to you when it just started. When you just start something, you're human. They are humans like me. They're human like you. At the start, when you start something, you say, "Oh, this is so beautiful," and you sell it because of the love of it. But after months, years, it becomes a burden. You're like, "Oh God, I have to make 100 of these now." It does not have that zing, that love and passion.
But I think in this market, like the Etsy market, the crafts market, I don't know that anybody. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go on the limb here and say I don't know that anybody keeps the same products around that long. I think in this business you have to. Again,
I was just about to say
You have to be
I think you have
fairly
to change.
dynamic.
Yeah, so you might go through a month or two of selling one product, and that's part of the boutiqueness of it is get it now because in a month I may not have these anymore, I may not make them anymore.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a limited run sort of thing. So I don't
Yeah.
know that how much of that you have the burnout.
And then
on.
you have people copying each other. So you go on Etsy, I'm assuming that you say, oh, this thing looks like it's selling. I'm going to make one just like that or close to so that I can take some of that of the pie.
But
Right. Here's an example, Marvin.
Mm-hmm.
These wooden trees, are made by my half brother.
Mm-hmm.
He's a couple 3 years older than me, and he makes literally thousands of these. He's got a shop down in the basement, and he gets wood for a reasonable price, and he'll sit down there and he'll cut these things up. And I said to him one day, well, can't you automate that? He says, no, because everyone is different. No two are exactly alike. So, and he sells these things wholesale to various shops at resorts and everything else. And he says, I'm making more money on these than I do on my retirement.
Yeah, agreed. And I agree that, but that's all relative. So you may make, let's say if you make $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, or do you want to make $100,000 a month? So I always say to people, when people will say to me, Marvin, I make money, 5,000. I make good money off. Like, I'll give you an example. When I go to the North Coast, where a lot of tourists come in Jamaica, and so Ochios, Montego Bay were the main tourists. So you have a lot of craft vendors. I could never replicate what they're doing with these craft bust of heads and all kind of things like that. And they're like, "Oh, Marvin, I make so much money from tourists over the week." And I say, "How much you made?" And he's like, "Okay, I made $2,000. To an average person, $2,000 is a lot of money I made in a week." But that's all relative. Do you want to be the guy that is sourcing the lumber for all of these craft makers than having them go out there looking for the lumber for themselves? So, I mean, like one guy, I said to them, "Hey, be the source of the lumber. If he makes 3 or 4 times what they make," and he was one of them. So he goes out there now and he chops up the lumber because he was a craft person. He cuts the lumber exactly how they want it, and he delivers it to their shop. And he makes more money than them because he's not delivering to 30 customers a week or 40 customers a week. He's delivering to 200 or 300 customers a day. Lumber, certain cups.
But it's, I guess you'd have to be, okay, would I want to do that? Would I want to be the guy that goes and chop the lumber down? For me, I wouldn't. If I was into the craft, then, you do each piece because that's what you want to do, I guess.
Well,
I don't know. But
I think what it is it to Marvin's point, there's a very deep-seated business understanding of of what he's saying. This is how you take X and you turn it into Y. But I think there's a passion involved, and there's the yes, there's a boutiqueness of the handmade, and a lot of people say, "Oh, handmade, da 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 da," and I get that too, and I think that may be part of the allure, or part of the what makes that particular product that particular product. It's not so much the product, but it's the product plus the manufacture process. So, it's not that I made this tree. It's this: I made this tree with my own 2 hands, and no 2 of them are the same. It's not the tree. It's partly, it's half the tree and half the fact that it was, human made by hand. Maybe it's an old, a traditional woodworking method or something, and there's a, so it puts a story behind it. It's not just like, "Hey, I got this and it came in a plastic bag, and I opened the plastic bag and here you go."
Yep.
So I think maybe that's part of it too. It's not so much the end product; it's the journey.
I think, yeah.
But
Well,
Marvin, I totally get where you're coming from. I totally get that aspect of it. You're
Yeah, because unfortunately, I live in a world. When I say not physical, I live in a world that passion means nothing.
And I understand that. I completely understand.
So when people say, "Do you have a passion for something?" and I'm like, "I don't have a passion for something. I work because I need to financially support my family.
Sure.
I work. I do things. I make business deals because I think it's appropriate for the company. I'm not passionate about making a glass and selling that glass to make people look at that glass."
You're passionate about the success of X to Y.
Correct. So there's no passion in saying, "Hey, I saw somebody 10 years on the road saw my glass that I made, and I'm like, I'm passionate about making this glass." That's not me. You know?
I think that's interesting. I think that may have been the United States maybe 80 years ago. I think there was a lot more of that in the United States. I think about my dad and my grandpa, and a lot of the things they did, they didn't do anything because it was fun and cool. I mean, yes, they did, but I mean, as far as work went, work was work. Work wasn't, you didn't do it because it was a passion. You worked because you had to do it. And I think, in the United States anyway, I think that is the exception rather than the rule nowadays. Anyway, I think.
Well, and we were a gigantic industrial, we were an industrial machine
Yeah.
For lack of a better term,
We still are.
and we still are 40 years ago. But I think so much, to Marvin's point, so much of what we used to make and had so much, not necessarily passion, but we had that drive, that testicular fortitude, whatever you want to call it. We made that product, and we had pride that we made it. So much of that has gone and been outsourced to other countries or other companies or whatever, cheaper, better, faster. And our economy has, yes, our economy has suffered, but I think there's a level of that getting back to the whole. It's referred to as the makers movement. It's the small manufacturing. It's the mom and pops, and it's not necessarily somebody making thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on a product. It's somebody who does it in their spare time, or maybe they have a small business and they make just enough money to survive and support their family, and there is that passion.
You know what? I think, and I'm not going to knock it, Andrew. I disagree, and I'll tell you why I think I disagree with that model.
Okay.
Model in my life, in the life, is that 40 years ago, most countries were passionate about what they made. So an American would be passionate about their machinery. You got to buy American tools. You got to buy American machinery. Europeans would be, hey, you have to buy European tools. English have the best cars because they last longer. Over the last 40 years, because of this globalization of the market, people buy things that they didn't know where it's coming from. It's coming from anywhere. You buy an iPhone, you didn't even know if the iPhone was built in China or built in Russia, it was built in India, it was built in the United States. So you lose that sense of pride of where you're buying things.
Sure.
So, and that is tending to be handed down to my kids. So my kids don't care where something comes from. So I may still have a little flavor of my parents where you have a little pride of where you buy things. But I, as a parent, I tell my child, hey, buy the best product that you think is the cheapest. So you buy something that you get value for. Don't worry about, because we're such a global market now where you can pick up the phone or you can Periscope or you can YouTube to somebody that's in a different world. So that barrier has been broken. So I have friends in the United States. I have friends in Australia. I have friends all over the world that 40 years I wouldn't have. So that kind of comrade barrier has broken in my mind. So it's no global market in my mind.
And I don't disagree with that statement. And I do the very same thing that you're referring to. I buy, a caliper or a bit or a set of screwdrivers, and I'm not necessarily overly concerned about where that came from.
Correct.
There are certain things that I would prefer to buy American. It doesn't really matter what the product is, and there are certain things, like, let's say I was going to get my wife a personalized whatever, picture frame, photo, hand drawn. At that point, there is less of the value for your money versus the quality of the overall quality of the product. So, so my wife wants, she's got a picture of some pets that have died that she had in her childhood, and she wants that drawn. I actually know an artist that can do the lifelike graphite sketch, full-blown drawing of those animals, and it'll look like a picture. So at that point, it's not so much about getting the quality or whatever, or not so much about the value. It's more about the journey and the end result.
Yeah, I agree.
But so to your point, I think that yes, absolutely, completely correct. But I think there are boutique items, hobbyist boutique. Maybe I like collecting porcelain figurines. I don't, and whatever. But some people collect stuff like that.
The cat's out of the bag.
Oh hell! So anyway,
like candles, things like that. Those are. I mean, I understand soaps. things that I wouldn't even never get into the mass marketing.
People throw all their cautions to the wind. They don't care how much it costs. It's a one of a kind. It's made by this famous person that just makes that, and it has a special thing that nobody else can do, and blah 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 blah. So it's $10,000, and it's stupid because I could buy the same thing somewhere else, but it's the journey, not the product.
Correct.
Right? It's the story behind it. So.
And there are a lot of things that I would buy just because it has a brand, it has a name behind it, you know. And I fully agree with you, you know. And so, but that market is slowly getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and uniquely. And when I say smaller, although there's a movement of makers in this world, if I were not in business I was in, and I worked for somebody, and I wanted to take the opportunity, and I had a CNC or a 3D printer, the business I would be getting is exactly what you guys are doing. I would be going to every craft fair, and I would be giving every crafter, every one of them, my card saying, hey, I am your middleman. I will CNC for that for you. Because I know that's where my business model is. Because you will always know in a business model, it's to acquire customers. It's a greater cost to acquire a customer from the end customer than acquiring a customer from a middleman. It's easier to acquire that customer because that customer is repetitive. I don't have to market to him. I don't have to have commercials for him or her. I make my proposition once, and once I've made that deal, I am selling repetitive business to that person. Unfortunately, when you make a customer at a craft market, I have to be reselling it. I can see Eve's wife and him have to be saying, gosh, I have to be selling this and negotiating with this person for the last 10 minutes why to buy my product. And then I'll never see them again in life. And 6 months later, I may see them again and I have to renegotiate that again, you know? Harder to acquire, costs more.
Hey guys, I need to close the broadcast. Well, I need to just stop the live broadcast real quick so we can hang out, but I just wanted to say
No problem.
Thanks. Well, we'll hang out here. I just got to stop the broadcast. But thanks for everybody for hanging out. This was a really interesting talk, and I hope people listen to this because I think there's some good information here. So,
absolutely, I really enjoyed the discussion and back and forth. So, well,
yep.
Marvin.
All right.
I blame you for this for some reason.
No, it was a good talk. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop. So everybody, bye-bye.